The tables flipped 1 week ago, and Jerez proved to be a challenge that was befitting of everybody in this series. But when we take a track that had a lot of aero push and a lot of downforce, flip it around to a circuit where drafting is necessary to get the results that you want, it's a completely different game as we head ourselves over to Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. This is Road America, and it marks the halfway stage of the season. It's round 4 of your RTA Virtual Motorsport F3 Championship fixed, and you can catch it live with us here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone watching around the world. My name is Jake Sperry, and joining alongside me in the booth here, back once again, is the third ever Winrar Trophy winner, Ossian Puhaka. Daniel Costello is on the cameras here tonight. He is directing them, and those are provided, as per usual, by Dougie Beard. But to Road America, which as a circuit is probably one of the coolest tracks, one of the few circuits that does not have a dedicated hairpin to it, but it doesn't matter all the same. This is a quick race circuit, and let's take a quick look at our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Road America. Nicknamed America's National Park of Speed, it's easy to see why just by looking at how the track is laid out. Long straights are a major feature, and drivers will build up incredible momentum before they find themselves interrupted by tight 90-degree corners. In fact, for a 4-mile circuit, it has shockingly few turns. It also has little in the way of variation in layouts. The main course is only broken up once with a single chicane added in the bend version. But don't take this to mean that it's a boring track. Elevation change happens many times over a lap, with a few places taking you into corners which are quite blind. But 2 of the turns on the back half of the course are perhaps the most distinctive. One is the carousel with its more than 180-degree radius. It just feels like it never stops. The other is the kink. Terrifyingly fast with very little runoff, it can end someone's race in a flash. As you'd expect, the heavy braking zones make for some ideal overtaking spots. Turn 5 sees plenty with its downhill entry. The hurried downs can offer drivers a chance at a sneak attack if you're brave, and then Canada Corner gives you one last shot before the lap is over. It's no wonder major organizations such as IMSA, IndyCar, NASCAR, and the SCCA all host major races here. All in all, many drivers rate this track as the best track in North America. Many who hop in the seat and try it can quickly understand why.
So that's Road America. We'll see it here live on Global SimRacing Channel for the RTA F3 Championship round number 4. It is an interesting circuit, certainly undulating, and certainly will provide some exciting racing, that's for sure, because there's a lot of overtaking opportunities on this track. You can just see turn number 1 ends after a long straight, bit of an uphill run to it. Then you got turns 2 and 3, turn 3 really being the turn 2 as we would call it. Turn 5, the prime overtaking opportunity on the track. So what's it gonna look like with the Formula 3 car? It's gonna look like a lot like the season opener at Spa-Francorchamps, where you have a lot of drafting, you have a lot of 2 wide, 3 wide opportunities, a lot of chaos, especially on the opening laps. And when you remember that very interesting race type they got going on, it's gonna prove to be some exciting racing. So let's look at how our races will look tonight. It's gonna be 3 heats, 3 starts. First one, 10 minutes, grid set by qualifying. Then you got a 15-minute second race, where you got the grid set by race number 1, and you got race number 3, the final one, the longest one, which is reverse top 8 from race number 2. So the difference between positions 8 and 9 in race number 2 can be 9 places on the starting grid for race number 3. You got drive-through penalty at 15 incidents, and you got a disqualification at 20 incidents. And Jake, let's look at the championship. Okay, so driver standings. Ronan Doherty retains his lead after Heret, but only by 5 points over Jordan Kelly, who had a fantastic round. Top 3 extremely tight. It's the young gun, Dylan McClements, with 6 points behind the lead, only 1 point behind Jordan Kelly, and that's gonna be super exciting. Good flip all over the shop today. Rory O'Shea in place number 4, 21 points behind the leaders. Then the gap start to stretch a little bit. You got Conor Melia in 5th place, Sean McClements in 6th. Alexander Milchan in 7th place, Peter McCann 8th, Sean McGoldrick 9th, and Lawrence Dusosba in that final position of the top 10. And next up, I believe, we also have some qualifying to look at, and the qualifying is currently underway. And
that qualifying is important here, Austin. You know, you sit down and you understand, okay, what are the aims of the session that you've got? You're sitting here right now, and it is 15 minutes, as per usual for qualifying. We're now into the final 3 minutes of this qualifying session as we move on over into this at this point in time. And it's all about who's going to find themselves with a chance to jump up. Now, we've got a couple of drivers who are new in here today, and that is showing up at the top of the board because it's someone who was around only as far as the or the Formula 4 Championship, and that's Peter Dempsey at the moment. It's nice to see him back racing.
Yeah, Peter Dempsey, I know him very well. I was racing against him in the Formula 4s, mind you. And he's back on the pole position, well, the provisional pole position for now, with a 157.379, and just 1.5 tenths ahead of Dylan McClements. But let's see how he does. Certainly a very fast driver on his day. The kind of driver whose style will suit this track of Road America very, very well.
Very much will, and you do know that every time you go out and you see Peter Dempsey drive, he's not just any old driver out there in terms of what he goes out there and does. He's raced in the Star Mazda Championship, he's raced in Indy Lights with victories to his name. He's a 3-time winner of the Formula 4, Walter, I believe it's one of the trophies, the Silverstone Trophy. He's got 3 times there in the back pocket. He is lightning quick on his day, and everyone is going to know it when they go around here. Works over in the United States in one of the many garages out there, so doesn't often get the opportunity to race because times clash. Basically, he's got an opportunity, he's got a chance to race here today, and he is stage hunting, and everybody else is going to be looking around going, what do we need to do? And with that championship being close here, Ozzy, inside the final minute and a half, what do you think is going to be the key here today? Because everyone's going to be looking around at everyone else going, oh, I don't want to be the one who's pushing a little bit too hard.
Well, I think the key is, as always in draft tracks, is to find the right pack. You need to get to the lead pack early on and not necessarily try to make your way to the lead itself. Just be in that pack and be ahead of the cutoff as Dempsey improves.
Yeah, 57.303, no doubt about it, up on the top, and without too much to worry about either. Worth also noting that those championship points are without the 1 drop round added. That gets added at round 7 overall in the season. So that's worth keeping in the back of the mind, that those championship points will change and fluctuate as it goes, but it is a fantastic 4 at the top of the championship. Here is Alexander Milchan. The McClements brothers are 2nd and 3rd at the moment. Kelly in 4th, but Milchan with a really good qualifying at the moment, trying to climb the rise, which ends out the laps then, and this will be his final attempt. Conor Malia's just gone quickest with a 57.2. He's found that from absolutely nowhere. Incredible stuff. Milchan remains 6th fastest with his time, 0.4 of a second adrift as he went through, but absolutely magnificent. From strength to strength, Malia goes, and he's found what he wanted. That'll be everybody done in qualifying, and we will very shortly head over to our starting grid. A brilliance in qualifying then, as Conor Malia takes the pole position, a 57.223, and will take it by 700ths over Peter Dempsey, returning to the series. It's the McClements brothers on the second row. Sean, the older brother, leaves Dylan, the younger brother, out there overall, who is doing an absolutely incredible job at this moment in time. I got a message from him earlier on in the week to say, hey, yes, I'm doing an absolutely incredible job at the moment, but I'm 13 years of age at the moment, not 14. I'm doing an incredible job. Jordan Kelly is 5th, with Alexander Mielkin in 6th position. Brian McCarthy and Peter McCann house row 4. Ronan Doherty down the order in 9th. Sean McGoldrick rounds out the top 10.
And 10 in 11th position, you got Sam Hutchings ahead of John McDonald. Andrew Murphy is 13th, and just like Dylan McClements, and David Budress is in 14th place. You got Jem Kulbainsen in 15th place, and Chanwing Fei in 16th, ahead of Ian May, Yamal Gandour, Simran Takar, and Lawrence Dusoswa in 20th position. And I believe that's actually all we got. No, we got one more, Eric CR in 21st position today, and that's...
Yeah, here we go.
Yep.
Green flag is in the air already, and we are underway then here from Road America. A lightning start for everyone to get onto the grid as they now jostle for position, heading towards the 2 right-handers of turns 1 and 3 out here on circuit. Flying through, there's already trouble there from 3rd position, and that's Sean McClement. Both have rounded upside down and over. We got 5 in trouble. Then at the opening section, Murphy, McDonald, Colbinson is caught up in it as well. A huge kick of incorrectness on the start, and it has allowed the race leader here, Conor Malier, to break away off the lead, and now everyone's jostling for position. We're 3 wide through the Moraine Suite.
Yeah, and Malier has got to be thanking his lucky stars, seeing that 3 wide in his mirrors, laughing a little bit to his beard if he has one, and if not, laughing anyway. Jordan Kelly up to the 2nd place with Dempsey and Dylan McClements with Milken and that huge battle pack. Oh, and there's Furdercont behind them. And that's, I think Doherty was one of the drivers involved. Peter McCann certainly involved. He is lacking a rear wing and facing the wrong way around. So that's Peter McCann with his race pretty much over right from the get-go. But yeah, these guys have to get it sorted out very quickly. And so far, they're fighting and allowing Malier to get away.
Yeah, it was Mielken who got ran into from behind. And Mielken with no rear end grip. He's going to find out how that's difficult. He's just gone around in the gravel through the carousel, and he'll drop way down the order. A crazy start as it's a 10-minute race. Everybody's got to gain positions quickly. Here is Peter Dempsey, and look at who he's got. He's got Jordan Kelly and Dylan McClements. Now, Kelly and McClements are right in the championship battle. When you realise Ronan Doherty is in that mix as well, it's always going to be a threat. You know that it's going to be good, and the drop round today being used by Rory O'Shea. He's not here today, so Peter Dempsey is holding the title battle behind at this moment.
And Doherty is all the way down in 11th position. So these guys have to be licking their chops right now, knowing that they can get points differences side by side behind them between McCarty and Dylan McClements. And they are trying to battle it out heading into turn number 1. Meanwhile, Jordan Kelly is looking for the run into turn number 1, not quite pulling it off. And I think these guys are now realizing, look, if we want to fight for the win, we must work together. They got a chance to gap these guys behind, and they may have a chance working together catch onto the leader.
We're going to take a look at the race start here. This is the view from Sean McGoldrick, the number 19, the Duffman car, finds out what makes this track so incredible to get wrong at the opening corner. It funnels into the opening section. He goes spread eagle across the circuit, and then everybody starts jumping up in and around. 2 go upside down through that section of road and find their days over. I want to point this out as a stat here. The drivers who started 17th and 18th, Ian May and Jamal Gandour, gained 11 places off the start. They're 6th and 7th.
Yeah, that sort of reminds me of the opening round at Spa. Remember Gandour being all the way up in top 10 and almost holding on to that position to the end. Well, Gandour is looking for a similar result here today, the Simsa esports driver, and that's May making a bit of a mistake, and Gandour looking to the inside at the carousel. Whoa.
Well, you don't often make them there, and Ian May will find out that Jamal Gandour will capitalise on any opportunity that is handed. Never go too wide at the kink. It's such a dangerous corner. Jordan Kelly spearing around the circuit, trying to find a pass here on Peter Dempsey. The two of them are chasing down Conor Malia at this moment. It's 1.8 seconds, the gap out to the front as it stands. But Jordan Kelly knows how important points are at this stage. Dylan McClement's back in 5th position. This is another chance to gain crucial points, which he has been doing all season long. Knowing as well that Ronan Doherty's had to come into the pits and back out again in 13th place. This is the perfect time to strike, and he is bump drafting on this straight.
Wow. So Conor Malia with the fastest lap until Jordan Kelly takes the way, and that's an unusual strategy. It's very, very precarious as there's a slow lapped car on the inside heading into turn number 1. A very precarious strategy in these open wheel cars. You usually see that in stock car racing in America. Something like NASCAR, bump drafting, certainly you do. But with open wheelers, guys, there's not much of contact space. You're essentially pushing that tight, narrow nose cone into the gearbox of the car in front, and there's very little, if any, room for error.
No, there absolutely is not, but you also have to say that as they all start to jostling around, this is Ian May and Chan Wing Fei once again, and here goes the look around the outside. There's the tag. Ian May never had it shut properly, and just like that, Chan Wing Fei's going to jump up 2 and move himself up into 6th position, stealing a place away. Just Sosua now up into 8, bringing Simran Takar along for company. But you have to also talk about Jordan Kelly in this sort of race here, because there are 2 things that he likes very, very much around this circuit. It's got long straights and he's got bridges. He's got everything he possibly wants here.
Wasn't it corners and bridges?
Well, it doesn't matter. He's got bridges.
Yeah, he's got bridges and he likes bridges very much. So I love that. Like a good guitar player, gotta love those bridges. So Dempsey and Kelly there, once again bump drafting each other. It's interesting they chose to do it that way, because the conventional strategy would be swapping the lead of the draft in every long straight. So you swap it on the main straight, you swap it between turns 3 and 5, and then you swap it once again, probably leading into the kink. So I'm not sure if that one is actually preferred or not, but you can swap it 2, maybe 3 times over the course of a lap and use the draft. Instead, they are using the draft, the overspeed that Kelly has to push Dempsey forward, and that is the alternate strat that is working very well for these guys. Just don't get it wrong is the key here.
Absolutely. You've got 2 incredible real-world drivers who are proving that that is the right strategy to go. And especially when you consider they're on a high downforce set as the fixed setup. So naturally, you're not going to really get too much. You're at risk here around this circuit of hitting the rev limiter, which is why the push is a lot better, you would argue, than the overspeed.
Oh yeah, that works out for them. And I think this is easier to communicate as well between the drivers, in that when you have to get the overtake right, the driver in front has to realize that, you know, you have to let the driver behind go in a manner that doesn't cost them any time. So you essentially let them take the preferred racing line, which is usually around the outside, and have them be clear before the corner. And if you haven't practiced it, that can be surprisingly difficult to pull off. It usually takes teammates with the experience to actually pull off that strat. So good thinking by Jordan Kelly and a good trust between these 2 drivers as well to realize that that is the optimal strategy.
Oh, it is going to be about a strategy. It's about working when is the right time to pounce. And because they are within 1.5 seconds, they are getting the slipstream in front now from Conor Malia. The question will be, do they have enough time to close that gap down in full? It's hovering around 0.8 of a second to a second. And you're seeing now all of the road being used by Peter Dempsey. He wants to chase this down in his 10-minute sprint and set himself up for the 15-minute middle race that is out there, what we call the meat and potatoes of the championship format that we have here. But Conor Malia is driving fantastically, but he's driving a little bit too quick. He is now driving at such a pace, and he's got no choice to do it. At 1:57, it's going to be about 3 seconds over the line, which allows for an extra lap's worth of racing. The white flag not being waved by Barney the flagman up in the stands.
No, and that's going to allow one more lap for Dempsey and Kelly to catch up. But catching up is one thing and passing is whole nother. I'd argue it's even better for Malia to actually, you know, allow Dempsey and Kelly to pass early on so they can fight among each other for the win, and then Malia can sort of take it back I wouldn't want to be leading into the last lap if I was Conor Melia, but it's always Strats. Oh, and that's very, very wide indeed for the Sosva, I think. And yeah, and
so the Canadian trying to find where Canada corner is. That wasn't going to be very useful out there. Back to the inside goes Jamal Gandor, the Simsa Esports admin, slides a little bit off the exit. Chanwing Fei trying to attack back up the hill here under the Corvette bridge. What a difficult corner that is. Plateaus on braking and turn, which really does test your car control and the way you go through each and every corner. Chanwing Fei has to sit back and wait. Jordan Kelly sitting on the back of Peter Dempsey, the stage hunter here today, and he knows now Conor Melia is trying to actually break some slipstream here. He wants nothing of these drivers at 0.7 of a second behind.
Yep, catching up very fast indeed, heading into the Canada corner. If they went straight from here, it would be about 300 miles to Canada, but they are not. They are turning right, thankfully so, and then starting to catch up to the leader. By the way, you mentioned turn 6 being very difficult. I'd say, from my experience, the most difficult corner in Road America, and I'd say even more controversially, it's not even close.
No, I don't think it's close either. There's a lot of great corners around here, a lot of difficult corners, but you have to earn it around this place. A 6.4 kilometre track, and we start the final lap of this first race of 3 tonight. Conor Melia has 0.7 of a second. Jordan Kelly and Peter Dempsey, third and second, are trying to chase this one down. Will they fight amongst themselves, or will they play for the big prize of a victory in this opening race? It is still a case where Jordan Kelly's been patient, but they're still trying to use the draft as much as they possibly can. At 0.6 of a second now, Peter Dempsey finds himself. Jordan Kelly really ratcheting up the power here, and again is going to push here through the moraine sweep, diving down the hill, over towards this next corner here. Turn 5, out on track. Up the hill, searching turn 6, is still around 0.6 of a second. Melia is inch perfect at this point in time.
It is, and Melia has been absolutely fantastic throughout this race, and Kelly hasn't been able to push Dempsey too much anymore in this lap because they already have the draft from Melia, and that draft is pushing Melia forward too, just a little bit. It's not as much as the drivers behind are gaining, but they are still pushing, and right now it actually looks very, very good for Conor Melia, who's done a tremendous job so far.
The legs will be shaking, so will the arms through every single steering motion here, going through the kink. Are you going to give it up now? I think you are. There's a thought there from Jordan Kelly of moving for second position here against Peter Dempsey. They're playing for keeps amongst themselves now, and it looks like Dempsey's going to cover off his move. Melia is fine, runs a little bit wide on the exit though. Has to be worried about that now. 2 corners, we said the nerves would be jangling right now, and they'll be absolutely heart beating out over the front wing at this stage, because through the final corner, it's home and dry from now. Conor Melia could only get his first podium last time out, but here at Road America, he finds victory lane and does so brilliantly. Close for second and third. Kelly short by a couple hundredths.
Excellent finish, and here is still fight for 9th place between Ian May and Simran Tahar. I think it's gonna be Ian May who's gonna take the crown between the teammates here. Always provides close finishes. The start-finish straight and last corner at Road America, and this one was no exception.
No exception at all in today's action. Worth noting here as we find the victory overall for Conor Melia, 11 minutes and 53 seconds, the time for the 10-minute race. It was a win by 0.6 over Peter Dempsey, with Jordan Kelly third. Dylan McClement will take an extra place because Brian McCarthy ran off the road through the hurry downs in the last lap of this race. So he's back in 5th. Jamal Gandor and Chanwing Fei 6th and 7th, with Lawrence de Sosa in 8th. Ian May is in 9th, and Simran Takar rounds out then the top 10 overall for the first race of the night. There are 2 more races available for these drivers to score points, and it's worth talking about how the drop rounds work here, Ozzy, because it's not a case of you drop 3 races over the course of your first 21 races of a 24-race championship. You have to drop the week as a whole.
Yep, you do have to, and that means even if you have like a couple of decent results, or 1 decent result, you have to just drop the week. So you have to be very, very consistent in that you have to realize that, okay, I have to do good weeks. I have to do good in each and every one of these individual races. And there's 3 races per race week. 10, 15, 20 minutes per race. It's very hectic. It's very chaotic. And a lot of times those accidents can come by you very quickly. And as we've discovered multiple times before, Jordan Kelly in Spa was a good example. When you crash in race number 1, and you're out in race number 1, that's gonna make your whole race week tremendously difficult.
Speaking of difficult right now, it's going to be a topsy-turvy grid here for race 2, and the 15 minutes that they've got. There's the track temperature, 28 degrees centigrade, or Celsius, I should say, 83 Fahrenheit out there at this point in time. Air temp a lot cooler, but I think what's going to be telling is the likes of Sean McClements, Ronan Doherty are 11th and 12th in this one. You got Sean McGoldrick trying to go from 20th. They're going to want to get into the top 8 as quickly as they can. Lights on then for race 2. Lights out for race 2. And it's a great start from Jordan Kelly. It's not often that we get to hear that on the run forward. Peter Dempsey's going to find himself in trouble. There's someone already looking like they've maybe lost the front wing as they go through. Everybody channels for position. Malia clear through the opening corner once again, but it's a lot more tame as they go through the opening corner.
Yeah, no massive chaos this time around, which is obviously a good thing. They head into turn number 3 pretty much cleanly. You can see a slide there, from Chan Wing Fei, and that's one of the cars out. That's Ian May out on the infield in turn number 3 as well, so a bit more drama, but still nothing compared to race number 1.
And again, it was Ronan Doherty who got caught up with it. So Doherty finding himself in the trouble, in the thick of it. And because of that, he is really going to have to get a handle of it as they go up through the hill. Jordan Kelly makes the pass now, moves into the race lead. Dempsey now in second, Malia third, and soon Dylan McClements missed the consistency. He's going to want to try and get through and find a podium place.
Yes, and now it's important for those guys to get settled quickly. They saw last time around what happens, and Ronan Doherty, as he's taking a excursion to the grass, they saw last time what happens. Then you let somebody get away. Catching up is very, very difficult, even during the 15 minutes. But yeah, Ronan Doherty, I think he had one of the fastest laps in race number 1, but he lost so much time early on that he couldn't get a good position. Same here this time around. Conor Malia trying to take the second place back.
Yeah, over to Canada corner, easily gets it done, but he runs it deep, he locks it up, and he might lose 2 places here, trying to make it happen. McClements on the outside there, Dylan's not going to try and get that move done, and they'll have to go back into line. Peter Dempsey may be given a license to try and chase down Jordan Kelly, who's out there at the moment. Lear again running wide off the exit. Now they only have 15 instant points to play with before they get a driving penalty. It's worth talking about this as well. Ronan Doherty's got the black and orange mechanical flag. He must come down in for the pits as they recover through. There's a search for 5th place going on as Brian McCarthy jumps the queue then on Dylan McClements as Lawrence de Sosa finds contact there with Jamal Gandour.
That's just such a difficult corner to get on the inside from. It's very difficult to keep your line through there, and you just saw Gandour wasn't really going very wide at all, but it's so very difficult to judge where your line will end and the opponent's line will begin, because it is a surprisingly narrow corner, and because it's such a high-speed corner, any tiniest bit of contact can result in a big incident, and this time it cost Lawrence de Sosa very, very dearly. He's now down in 14th.
It's the battle for the invert pole for race 3 just behind as Sean McGoldrick, who started on the 10th row of the grid, has his eyes set on 8th place. It's the 84 of Alexander Mielken of Team Potato Nation that he's got to try and get by. And Mielken, over last time out at Jerez, proved that he's got one of the widest Formula 3s in Europe. Well, does it translate when you turn Imperial and Metric around and you head over here to Road America?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Sean McGoldrick certainly is looking to take that position away, looking to the inside at the Canada corner, and I don't think Mielken would be too wise to protect that off too much yet, because they have a chance to catch up to the cars in front. Exactly. Let's McGoldrick take the inside line. Let's McGoldrick, well, doesn't really let easily, but still allows him to take position so they can catch up to Sean McClements and Jamal Gandour in front of them, and especially Gandour is somebody they have to be looking at as a driver they can catch up to, and potentially for Milken get that 8th place back.
Yeah, Conor Malia now trying to get back into 4th position. The top 2 are gone. Dylan McClements now in 3rd. McCarthy in the mock-up Brawn trying to battle with it here as they go through the opening corner, scrapping around the outside, but the heavy steering angle through the opening corner means McCarthy goes through. There is Sean McClements trying to recover in the Team DDR car. He battles it out with Jamal Gandour, been a little bit friendly with everybody at this point in time, but look at how it brings the rest of the group around to swarm. They will now charge through towards the Moraine Sweep, and everywhere you look, there are overtakes happening as Malia now holding the inside off, manages to cover his move. Behind that, it's McClements, Gandour, McGoldrick, and Alexander Milken is not giving up on a top 8 meal ticket.
No, not at all, and this is all very interesting in terms of fights. So you can just see these guys, McCarthy in 5th place, for example, trying to chase down Conor Malia, who has to be a little bit disappointed. And look at where Sean McGoldrick came from. Up 12 places since the start.
Yeah, but he's also got the issue that he's run into the back on that straight of Jamal Gandour. So now he's got a little bit of damage potentially on the front, which is really going to be hampering him in terms of how he wants to go through this race. It might just take him out of contention, and he is heavily hampered on the straights. Brian McCarthy now is through, but he's now looking around at Conor Malia, who's down 4 in this second race. Malia's just looking around going, well, I'm going to have to battle here, but at what point do I look around at what I've got for this race, and when do I look for the next one here? Still 9 minutes on the clock, so a lot of time to try and make something happen, but the issue that someone like Conor Malia is having here is that he basically is trying to look for a little bit too much. This is a circuit where you have to communicate.
Exactly, Jordan Kelly puts in another fastest lap, and these guys are just fighting. They're allowing Dylan McClements to get away, and they're allowing Sean McClements to catch up each and every time they take it too wide through these corners. Malia once again sliding a little bit heading into turn number 1, and maybe giving that number 18 white and Dayglow car a bit of a broad note, so to speak.
I do want to get a look at Sean McGoldrick's car here, because he is driving something that very much looks like it's been half set up out of the store at this point, as Conor Malia looks to chase down, or to be chased down by Brian McCarthy, as now there is a change to 7th and 8th places, as this is on 4th, 5th and 6th, as they now crest the rise here. There is the Duff machine now down to 13th. Look at it, the front nose clip is completely gone.
Yeah, that's I'm not an expert in aerodynamics, mind you, but I believe that is going to affect the front downforce a little bit.
It doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right.
But hey, he's still going.
He is. Give him credit. He doesn't have a black and orange mechanical flag. Now, here's David Budress, who is out there racing. Now, it's his first start of the season. First time we've seen him all season long. He's doing an okay job here in 10th place. Started 14th, finished 14th. He's now up 4 over the course of this race. And he's looking at Simon Hutchings, who has been quite consistent over the course of this season. This is a case of, you look at the drivers in and around, like Jamal Gandour, they can just reach the back of him. They're racing for the invert.
Yeah, what I want to know about that good race car, and when you're in top 10 at your debut, essentially, you're always doing a great job. A top 10 is always a respectable achievement, no matter who you are. But I want to know if Kawaii Steel is a real company.
Well, we will have a good Google. I'm sure someone will tell us if it is or not. Brian McCarthy, though, is still searching as he battles with Malia, and Malia again tries to hold around the outside, but he's going to have to yield as the move is done by McCarthy. Cross the beams as they head over towards turn 3. Out on track and now set up the run. It's the pivotal corner out there in terms of how they want their race to go, and you have to just drive off the exit now and attack. McCarthy moving over to that inside line, very much going to play a defensive pack compared to Conor Malia. Got Sean McClements waiting in the catbird seat, trying to make something happen if these two decide to go hammer and tongs at it. But again, Malia around the outside holds his station nicely.
Does indeed. 4th, 5th and 6th fighting here. Sean McClements now looking to get those positions done. And just a quick inform, it is a real company. I did have to look it up. It is a real company. Sadly, Boudret is down to 11th place now. Jean Wing-Fei has passed him by. And here's the leader. I mean, Jordan Kelly, what a job he's done. But Peter Dempsey, he's not out of the picture just yet.
No, he's not, and this is big in terms of how you construct your points over the course. Jordan Kelly, after having a mega week going into this one at Jerez, he picked up absolutely everything. The full Monty, 90 points available on offer. Is looking for a bit more. Came into today a point ahead of Dylan McClement and 5 points back on Ronan Doherty. With Doherty having a shocker, Jordan Kelly is the de facto championship leader at this point. And with Dylan McClements in third, McClements, who doesn't necessarily have the outright raw pace overall to mount a challenge on Jordan Kelly, does so with the way that he consistently finishes races.
Yeah, and it's incredible to think that the youngest driver on the grid is the one known for their consistency. As here, and that's Jamal Gandour. And that's not only lacking the front wing, that's also the front right tire is looking like it's having a bit too much camber.
Michael Schumacher called. He wants his Spa 97 crash back. That's not
98.
Yeah, no, you're right, 98. It is 98.
Sorry.
It was absolutely pouring that year. You have to remember, Ozzy, I was 1.
Yeah, that is a fair point. I was 6 years old back then.
Yeah, you definitely had the ability to remember, and I didn't. Sean McClements, though, finds himself on the move on Brian McCarthy. Moves up into 5th with patience. Has to cover off the move up the hill, though. Brian McCarthy is showing a lot of fight in that brawn, but he's finding out that he's probably got mid-season brawn pace instead of early season brawn pace at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, 6th place, not bad, but and that's very wide indeed, and that's something you don't want to do, and it's so very easy to do that in that corner, as we are getting a quick replay of what happened to Jamal Gandour here. And here they are heading into the last section, the last corner of the track, just getting wide and clipping the outside, and that's the inside wall that is greeting Jamal Gandour and saying, hello. You didn't like any points from here, did you?
That, for Jamal Gandour, is a simply heavy wake-up call to find when you go into that final section. Not what the doctor ordered in any way, any shape, or any form. As whoa! Budress also off the road, but that was getting very scary behind as well as they went through. So Budress back now into 12th position. And around Brian McCarthy, it was getting a little bit crazy from him, so it's starting to drop. De Sosla is there as Peter Dempsey sets the fastest lap of the race. Up the hill goes the battle, and De Sosla now looking to put one over on, I believe, Simran Takar, who he's been racing with all day long, his Potato Nation, I would say, comrade at this moment, rushing through the opening corner. Takar leaving just enough room there for Budress if he was pushing his nose up the inside.
Yeah, great battles, and here's Simon Hutchings, who is right now holding the golden ticket to pole position in race number 3. Not necessarily the flashiest driver. I believe that might be one of the very few times we've said his name throughout this season outside of the starting grid ordering, essentially going through the starting grid. But he is now holding the golden ticket and 2 seconds ahead of Jean Wing-Fei, 2.5 actually. Could be able to hold on to that too.
Budress making the pass then, jumping up into 11th. Not much that Takar could do about that. That was just comfortably executed there by the number 31 from Club Midwest. Keep an eye out, though, on Peter Dempsey. He is trying everything to keep Jordan Kelly in the sights. That gap is down, the lowest it's been in a very long time, to 0.8 of a second here, rushing along this straight.
everything I can. And it's 8/10 of a second and 1 lap to go as Barney the flagman waves the white flag. And for Peter Dempsey, it's gonna have to be the lap of his life.
It will definitely have to. And now here comes the charge. Jordan Kelly will now try and stave off Peter Dempsey at an arm's length like Mr. Jordan Kelly, is Johnny Sexton. And you've got Peter Dempsey, which is any form of Namibia defence at this moment in time. This is going to be a case of racing where you turn around, you look at everything and go, well, okay, I should say Romanian defence at this point. But Jordan Kelly is driving around looking like he is wanting a championship that you can argue he should have had at least the last 2 championships in his back pocket, but results have basically turned him elsewhere. He is so quick when he is on form, and it takes him a couple weeks to get him into position. Last time out, he took the absolute lot, and he is showing why, on top of everything he has possibly put together, he is title material wrapped up in a nice, neat bow. Rushing out of the carousel under the Henry Bridge and moving through now to the kink and over through towards Canada Corner. They do not have the use of DRS in this series, but what they do have is a sense of drafting is perfect. 7/10 the gap remains. This has been a scintillatingly strong drive from Jordan Kelly, and it will set himself up beautifully for an 8th place start in race number 3. Championship leader extends his margin as coming out to the final corner. It is Jordan Kelly. He loves his corners, he loves his bridges, he loves his P1 finishes as well. He'll take race 2 here at Road America.
What a race from him, what a performance. He was able to get the lead right from the get-go and never let up. Dylan McClements finishing in a nice top 3 here, just ahead of Conor Malia. Then it's Sean McClements, Brian McCarty, Alexander Milchen, and indeed Simon Hutchings taking the pole position for race number 3.
Brilliant case of driving then, and a few drivers out of position again. Sean McGoldrick, Ronan Doherty, they'll be kicking themselves. But confirmation of result, Jordan Kelly gets it done. 15 minutes and 45 seconds, wins by 8/10 over Peter Dempsey, with Dylan McClements rounding out the podium. It's Conor Malia in 4th, ahead of Sean McClements in 5th, with Brian McCarthy and Alexander Mielkin 6th and 7th, racing that out for position. Simon Hutchings, a quiet race, but one that he'll be very happy with. 8th place is more than enough, with Chan Wing Fei in 9th, and Lawrence de Sosua rounding out the top 10 to finish out race 2 of 3 that we have going on here tonight. But this has been an incredible case of racing to put things off into showcase. They do have those 20 minutes to go through, but we do have drivers waiting to find themselves with an opportunity out there overall, and we're going to have a chance to take Oshin Puhaka down the Road America pit lane because he's found himself with Jordan Kelly.
Yep, here is Jordan Kelly, a famous lover of corners and bridges. We got plenty of both here in the Road America circuit, and it's been going well for you. First and foremost, congratulations for the win in race number 2, but tell us about race number 1 and the bump drafting between you and Peter Dempsey. Certainly not the most usual of decisions. How did you come to that choice?
Well, I seen Connor was 2 seconds ahead. I think we would have caught him if Peter made a few small mistakes in front, and if we just got that extra 3/10, we're only 3/10 off for like getting the toe. So I think if we got that, we could have had a good wee battle for first, second, and third. So it was it was interesting, that's for sure. But it nearly worked out. But no, it was good.
So, just out of curiosity, we were speculating about it during the race. Why did you choose to go for bump drafting, which is the inherently more risky strategy, instead of just swapping the lead?
It seemed to be working when we were in practice. We were racing with a few people, and it was kind of getting you a few tenths. So I think it was just better to let the guy in front focus on his laps and just get that extra bit of help behind, instead of switching up your driving style. I think it was more the thought process behind it. So it's hard to know if it would have worked the other way or not, but we'll live and learn.
So in terms of championship, I mean, it's still early to talk about championship. We're only in round number 4. But how does having Peter Dempsey here in these races suit your championship challenge, knowing that he is not someone who is within the shout of the overall championship, having missed essentially half the season, but he's still within the shout of race wins. So do you like, if you see him get away, do you sort of maybe let him get away a little bit easier than someone you're fighting directly for the championship for, or is it you treat everybody the same way?
Well, if it's for first place, I think it's different. But if it's third or second, it's a different matter. It's only 2 points, and you could end up getting taken out over the head at trying to make a move. So I think you would treat him. You're going to treat him with a wee bit more leeway, I suppose. But we'll see how it goes. But once we all get in track, the heads can always change their thought process. So we'll see how it goes. But hopefully it'll be some clean racing in the third race.
Just a brief question before we let you go. So, starting from P8, obviously, for race number 3, we saw how the start went in race number 1. What's your plan?
Keep it clean, I suppose. It seems to be hard. Ronan had a bit of issues in them 2 races, so from that place. So I think it's just a matter of just trying to keep it clean. But it's always difficult sometimes going into the first corner with so many people. But we'll try our best, I suppose.
All right, you'll try our best, and we wish you good luck, Jordan.
Sure.
And thank you for your time as well. And with that, Shakespeare, we got a race number 3 to look forward to.
We do, and I think the important thing to say is that Road America is not like most traditional circuits. You look at this track, it is narrow in comparison to some of the more open, more expansive circuits that you will find on the European peninsula. You have to be choice in terms of where you place the car, because one wrong move and you find yourself in Struggle Street. And especially when you find it with drivers who are here, who are there, who are everywhere, and especially that driver there on screen, one Mr. Sean McGoldrick. He is the sort of driver, Austin, who's finding himself at the mercy of the opening corners. And you really do get that check up into turn 1. A fast, medium speed right-hander where all these drivers cannot go flat out because everyone else has got a light brake in front.
Yeah, and there is this sort of chain reaction when you head into turn number 1 on the opening lap, where at the rear you kind of want to make up time. You're getting more speed because you're running all the way down, like a couple of 100 meters more down from the road, and you have to brake really early. At the same time, you have to focus on the exit. It's a short chute down the straight into turn number 3, and then you got the long straight, which is a great overtaking opportunity. So there's 2 plans really to turn number 1. Everyone wants to get to the inside line because that's the safest. And also everybody wants to sort of just make it clean through. So a lot of incidents can happen at turn number 1 because it's so narrow and everybody wants the same piece of real estate.
They do. Simon Hutchings, though, has prime real estate. He's on the pole position with Alexander Milken alongside. Brian McCarthy will have Sean McClements there, who might be the favourites, those 2 in 3rd and 4th, with Conor Malia 5th and Dylan McClements in 6th position. Peter Dempsey and Jordan Kelly have been in lockstep all night. They start 7th and 8th, with Chan Wing Fei in 9th and Lawrence de Sosua rounding out the top 10 overall for race number 3. Everyone is rushing to grid here as they get themselves set and assimilated with what they need. The track is still that 26 degrees Celsius out there on circuit, but in sim time is now 5:15. This track has been cooling all day long. Let's get ourselves ready then in for action. We know how crucial it has been when it's come to getting yourself ready and sorting it up. You've got lights on, and here for the final time tonight, the lights are out and we are racing. It's a huge stall off the start for Simon Hutchings. He falls way down the order off of the start, miles back as they now charge towards the opening corner out on track. Who's going to be brave? Who's going to be bold? Who's going to find what they want out of it? It's nice and clean from everybody as they charge their way through. But I believe it's Sean McClements, the best of them, who's got that start. He's up to 2nd.
Yeah, that was the bold and the beautiful from Sean McClements and Brian McCarty making it to positions 2 and 3. Alexander Milchan is leading, and I'm very curious how long he'll be able to hold on to that, because he's not exactly lacking in pace today. He's been a fast driver, and here you can see them shuffling. Oh, and that's very, very wide indeed from Dylan McClements. One of the first mistakes I've seen him make all season long.
One of the first mistakes I've seen him make in 2 seasons. It now puts him back into 19th place here in this field. No John McDonald taking race 3. So that's a massive, massive mistake for Dylan. He's got all the work to do now to keep Jordan Kelly at bay or in check in terms of the championship. Round the outside of the carousel tries Connor Malia. Oh, you're brave or you're foolish. You're one of the two, Connor, trying to get this done on one, Mr. Jordan Kelly at the carousel. Can't quite get it back into life, but I tell you what, I love the aggressiveness.
Yeah, round the outside in lap number 1 at Carousel, certainly a choice. One of the choices of all time, I would have to say. And there's also a challenge for the 3rd position, Peter Dempsey and Brian McCarty. And that's going to be McCarty spinning around.
And somehow everyone stays out of the way. Just about avoids everyone. He's got to wait for the whole world to go by, and now he is dead last in this field. Jordan Kelly now up into 4th position, was able to convert last time, an 8th place start to a victory. One car is slow coming off the exit of the final corner. That's Chan Wing Fei, but there is Sean McClement, and he wants his move in the Team DDR car. They've had a horror show tonight as Team DDR, with the exception of Dylan McClement, but that is the move for the race lead. There's not much Alexander Milchan can do at turn 1, except wait for turn 5 to strike back.
John McClements, he won the opening race of the season, heat number 1 in race number 1 at Spa-Francorchamps. Hasn't been to the victory lane since then. Top step of the podium, as we know it in Europe, victory lane here in Road America. But Sean McClements, he'll certainly looking to get back. However, look at Milchan. He's certainly not interested in cooperating. No, he wants that lead back. He feels safe. And most importantly, what does a driver want more than to lead a race?
To win a race. That would be the next thing I'd say. You want more than leading a race is to win a race, and after wanting to win a race, the one thing you want more than that is winning a championship, and I think that's where you're seeing those drivers really make something happen. Look at the start Ronan Doherty's had. Dives down the inside of Lawrence de Sosa, then through the hurry downs as round. Then will go Bedress, and he will have to redress all those places that he's gained off of his start. He's way back. He finds a reverse gear, but Ronan Doherty up into 6th position. This is a must gather back points up style of drive he's going to have to get here tonight.
Yeah, and he's certainly not feeling in distress quite yet. Here is Jordan Kelly. He's in a good position. He can look at Peter Dempsey ahead, knows that he can draft Peter Dempsey, knows the pace Peter Dempsey has. Milchan is sort of between them, bridging that gap between them and the leader, Sean McClements, and Connor Melia as well. He's the final car in the draft train so far. Now, 20-minute race, we got 16 minutes remaining. I would look at the 6th position. Car number 1, Ronan Doherty. He's had an absolutely appalling weekend so far. Races here at Road America, but he has a chance to make up some time and make up some points potentially if he can catch up, but it all depends. Will the leaders cooperate with him by fighting it out, or will they look to settle it later on down the line? And I don't think someone like Sean McClements or Alexander Milchan will be looking too closely at position number 6 right now, so he may have a chance to surprise them.
He may do. I tell you what, his weekend's been so bad that it's only Tuesday at the moment. He's got another 5 days to work out whether if his day has been that bad or not. There's the search then. Milchan putting himself right in the middle of the road. Jordan Kelly, got to be careful about that front wing. You could see that chopped off. He tries to dive through. There's a little bit of contact there between himself. They go through, and there they go. Milchan off, Dempsey off, both of them gone.
Wow, and thankfully, and Milchan lacking the rear wing. I don't think any one of them was around that looked like a potential catastrophe. Dempsey missing the front left wheel. Thankfully not going for a Dempsey roll tear because he wasn't upside down, but still that's a dreadful result for those two guys. Meanwhile, Sean McClements once again realizes, okay, he's not giving any draft to Jordan Kelly right now. It's now down to pace, unfortunately, because it is down to pace. he's got Jordan Kelly to contend with, and that's the fastest car on the racetrack right now.
I think the drivers in that top 5 group don't quite believe what just happened there. Conor Malia is very, very happy that he's still in this group and he wants to get as much as he can out of it. He will follow and shadow Jordan Kelly till the cows come home this evening. That's the way that he's going to go about it. Ronan Doherty didn't really lose that much time. In fact, that gap is still 2.4 seconds to chase. There's Dylan McClements. He's probably the biggest benefactor in all of this. He's now back up into 11th place with work to do to chase that down. And he knows he wants to get to, I would probably say 6th is a great finish for him here tonight in this final race.
Yeah, I'd say it's within the realms of possibility for him too. And it was very mature what he did on lap number 1. We saw it only very briefly. But he was knowing that, okay, the pack is gonna come up to me come up to him much sooner than he thought. So they were like bunching up, slowing down very quickly. He had 2 options: either try to the inside and pass like 2 or 3 cars, potentially resulting in an accident, or take the outside lane, lose everything himself, but not get damage to his car, crucially, and not crash into anyone. And he made the mature decision in that split-second time frame, something very respectable from such a young man, as we see a great fight here between Gandour and Murphy.
Yeah, Andrew Murphy on the inside gets the move sorted and is up into 9th place. That is Dylan McClement, they're just behind, who is trying to stay with that group, and they do scrap in front as well, as Simon Hutchings, the driver who stalled off the start, is now in 8th place and looking for 7th on Jem Golbainson, then for place through the carousel. So everywhere you look, there's drivers trying to search for moves, and McClements is now the next one. He's trying to get past Jamal Gandour. Where are you going to find those passes? That's going to be the question. Oh, he's going to look for the king. Oh, that's dangerous to go for the king. And somehow they hold it together. Dylan McClements does not know fear. Simon Hutchings now side by side.
What just happened? You said in previous race, do not go side by side through the kink. And that is one of the commonly accepted wisdoms. Take nothing away from this fight, by the way, we're seeing on the screen. Simon Hutchings, after a dreadful start, is back fighting against Jem Golbainson. But, I mean, Dylan McClements was looking to the inside at Jamal Gandour. To the kink, he wasn't able to get the pass done, but the fact that they survived is remarkable in and as itself.
Ronan Doherty sets the fastest lap of the race as here comes McClements then, moving to the inside to try and make a move. Also making a move is Murphy. He's got his eyes on Golbainson as well through turn 1. Golbainson's going to run a little bit wide and Murphy's going to pick up his place. And so too will Dylan McClements as he got it done into turn number 1. Through turn 3, and there's going to be no drive on the exit here for Golbainson. So Murphy should get enough overlap here to say, I have got the move past. And now Dylan McClements, who has picked up the draft fantastically, might be able to get 1, might be able to get 2. Moving over to cover Golbainson there, giving the channel open here to Dylan McClements. And now Golbainson tries to make it 3 wide. Never a wise decision. McClements to the outside, putting a masterclass on, but it's not done here, heading up in towards turn 6. He's going to have to give some respect here to Murphy, who uses all of the road and defends brilliantly now, heading to the brilliant hurry down section.
Yeah, and you can see how Dylan McClements was really looking for that over-under there at the exit of turn number 6. Not quite able to pull it off, but you can see him just taking the optimal racing line in each and every corner, forcing Andrew Murphy to constantly defend. Look at the positioning of Andrew Murphy versus Dylan McClements. And now through the kink, he's not going to be close enough, but he has a wonderful chance going into the Canada corner, and he looks to the inside, and Andrew Murphy can't cover it off.
No, he can't. It's so simple. Get yourself alongside at Canada. It's a very difficult corner to fight against it, and he's a lot later on the brakes. Is one Mr. Dylan McClements, and the young master is proving why he is so talented, and he is in the title picture here at Road America at the halfway stage of the championship. This is a good recovery drive that he's got, and now finds himself in 8th place. He's got 2 places to get to I would say, magical 6th place that he's trying to get himself into range for in what is an important race. Golbainson looking at it, still trying to fight back. Here is Hutchings, and Murphy was there. There is the third hit as well. Another driver gets absolutely clattered. That's Chanwing Fei, and that is a huge issue at turn 1.
Yeah, that's just a little bit clumsy heading into turn number 1, I would say. Just clumsy for those guys coming together, clumsy for them. I mean, Kulbeinsen for Murphy and Chanwing Fei, just an unfortunate victim, really, clobbering onto the stricken car of Andrew Murphy. But that was one of those turn 1 things where you're just not quite careful enough. You're not paying enough attention to the overspeed that you have, the speed difference heading into the corner, and as a result of that, you have a contact and you have a lost rear wing. And there we have someone with a lost front wing, making an overtake down to the inside. Peter McCann, yeah.
Oh, this is lost front wings, lost rear wings. Everything is going to be a case of they are going to a second-hand shop very, very soon, trying to find themselves some spare parts. They'll scrape together as much carbon fibre as they find before they will head over to round 5 of 8 of what has been a simply enthralling championship that they have been putting together. That round 5 race will be a week from today, and it will be at Suzuka. So that is going to be a huge difference maker. Again, the true all-round circuit that it is. Kulbeinsen now back in 14th position here in this one. Nothing he can do about it. I do want to talk the last few laps that come through over the line. Sean McClements crosses the line, does 57.4 out there on track. 57.3 from Jordan Kelly takes a 10th. Malia does a 57.2. Ronan Doherty's 56.9 is the fastest lap of the race. All of the top 4 are closing in on each other.
Yeah, and I think that's the first 56 we've seen today. I've seen pop up on the fastest lap board at least. And yeah, it's setting up to be an exciting finish. And I think Sean McClements lost a bit of time this lap around. He's lost about a couple of tenths in the opening sector somewhere, maybe. Could be just timing and scoring, playing tricks on me. So Jordan Kelly has caught up a little bit, just as I was about to say. Sean McClements, credit to him, he hasn't fallen victim to the charge of Jordan Kelly. The gap's been going down surprisingly slowly, and at the previous rate, I didn't really believe Jordan Kelly might be even catching up to him if Sean keeps that up. But now a little bit of a mistake, and not only is that gonna make him more wary, it's also gonna maybe play tricks on his confidence, because he may not be quite as confident to push as hard anymore, lifting off a little bit sooner, braking a little bit earlier, not going to the throttle quite as early, not taking that risk that this track demands. This is a risk-taker's circuit. It is an aggressive driver's circuit. Road America, very much so. And if you start to hesitate, you start to bleed lap time very, very quickly.
You certainly do. This is a circuit that you need confidence in the car. Jamal Gandor is holding Dylan McClements at bay here after McClements has dropped the place back down again into 9th and will want this one back again. But he also finds out why the front wings are so vulnerable around here, and that's a big, big moment for him in terms of his racing. He now has no front-end grip, and he's going to have to try and limp himself back home for the final 6 minutes of this one. No mechanical flag damage. He can drive that one to the end of the race if he wants to. Race lead down to 0.8 of a second. Jordan Kelly could be spearheading his way to a big championship lead if it were to end like this.
Did he lose that front wing on a piece of debris that was on the track?
I don't think he did. I think he may have just run a little bit too close to the lights of Jamal floor.
Okay, fair enough. Anyway, give him a red. Needs a flight now.
Jordan Kelly in second position, chasing down Sean McClements, who in the Team DDR car has been desperate for a victory since round 1. He's on a drought now of 10 race victories in a row. He does not want to make it 11 as Jordan Kelly is throwing the kitchen sink to try and keep Sean McClements within 1 second and close further. With Conor Malia having a career day in third position, and Ronan Doherty with a huge chip on his shoulder after the first 2 races tonight here at Road America. This is set with 1/4 of the race to go, as anybody's to take.
It absolutely is, and I don't think Jordan Kelly is... He's not the type of driver to hesitate. He's not the type of driver who thinks, okay, I'm gonna wait behind Sean McClements for my best opportunity. He's gonna strike when he sees his time comes, and Malia and Doherty have the upcoming few laps to try and catch up to the 2 leaders. Doherty also catching up to Melia, and meanwhile Kelly and McClements are gonna decide the race win, as it looks right now, among themselves, but you never know what happens. You take 2 or 3 corners side by side, all of a sudden you lose those 2 seconds you got.
I tell you what, Conor Melia is hoping that he's not making these mistakes any longer, because he was just clawing onto the back of Jordan Kelly. It's 1.2 seconds at this moment in time, and he's hoping that he's got that tow bar still latched in. Sean McClements, 0.4 of a second, 4 minutes. He's going to have to get his blocking boots out. He's got no choice. Jordan Kelly's in the range.
Absolutely is. So let's see how early he starts to go defensive. Does he go defensive in the turn number 5, or does he let Jordan Kelly make his own decision? Park that car in the middle of the racetrack and look where Jordan Kelly goes. Gonna be very interesting. Sean is a very experienced driver. He's a smart driver as well. He was able to get a good result from Spa-Francorchamps for a very, very good reason. He's a smart driver. He knows how to operate these draft races. He doesn't quite have the raw pace of the likes of Jordan Kelly or Ronan Doherty, but don't take anything away from this man. So it's gonna be curious to see how he chooses to approach this one, but no longer do we have to look at the clock or look at the stopwatch for the gap between these guys. You can see it right there. It's nothing.
And you also have to look around as well and say there is one crucial fact about this race week compared to the others. We're in a new iRacing build, Aussie. There will be slight differences with the car.
Yeah, there absolutely will be. So they have to adapt to the new differences as well. The grass that has changed a lot. The car has changed a little bit, so adaptability, all of those things, they're gonna affect them. But now here, look at Jordan Kelly.
What a run by Jordan Kelly. He gets himself at light speed, and there's not much that Sean McClements can do. He gets absolutely around him as he hits the braking zone, and suddenly there are 2 laps in this race where Sean McClements now has to find a counterpunch.
That was perfect. You don't counter that. It was simply... You can't counter something that quick. It was absolutely perfect from Jordan Kelly. Just taking the right run. He was the right distance away, and as they exited the kink, it was good night Vienna and Jordan Kelly into the lead. Sean McClements now, where will he strike back if he strikes back? A 156.6 in a lap he put an overtake on.
Yeah, he was in full slipstream mode, and he took the chains off and said, I'm him! I'm him! I'm the driver who wants to lead this championship. McClements is wanting a victory here. He'll go stage hunting for this one and take some vital points away from Jordan Kelly to help his teammate in 4th position, Ronan Doherty, if he can, and help his other teammate and his younger brother, Sean McClements. Right now, it's a case of troubles for Sim Rent-A-Car. He's going to go around. Dylan McClements is going to pick up an extra more, and Ronan Doherty knows how important it is in this DDR car to work through, and he's going to need his cousin's help in 2nd place.
He absolutely will. Are all of these drivers somehow related?
You never know.
Yeah, I mean, it is Ireland, so okay. So Jordan Kelly, Sean McClements in places 1 and 2, Conor Melia 10, trying to hold off Ronan Doherty. And just look at what happened to the gap between the 2 leaders. Sean McClements, mind you, he has draft. I repeat, Sean McClements has draft. We know how well the draft works, especially in high downforce cars. Jordan Kelly's been gapping him 0.6 over the course of this single lap. In this light fuel load towards the end of the race, Jordan Kelly, who's been charging, mind you, trying to catch on to the leader, has held on to his tires so well, and right now just has this absolute pace to pull away from Sean McClements and just in one more lap probably secure himself a 2nd victory tonight.
And it's just flicking up towards a 2nd now. Jordan Kelly is striding forward, looking for his 5th race win in 6 starts, and absolutely put a stranglehold on this championship. Ronan Doherty has got to throw something at Conor Melia here. Get up onto that podium, because that will be the culmination of what has been a tricky night, a night which maybe at the end of the season will be one that he drops, but he does not know that. He needs every point he can muster up, and this is where it's crucial here. Heading through turn 3, this is the setup corner. I think Melia takes a little bit more road here, and it will open up Ronan Doherty now to realise, well, okay, I've got to try and do everything I possibly can. Up into the highest gear, 6th, trying to chase this down, trying to find a move. Malia to the middle of the road. Is there going to be a search from Doherty? Oh, you bet there is on the brakes. Has he got enough to get it sorted on the inside? Drive off the exit, still going to be there with Conor Malia. But Doherty still has chances left in this race. He wants to make it happen, but he's got to follow this middle sector, Aussie.
He absolutely does, and that was great from Conor Malia to realize that, okay, Doherty is going to come to the inside, but he had enough trust in Doherty's ability to hold his line, to know that it's not a dive bomb, that car's not going to slide by. Hold it to the outside, capitalize on the exit, and keep the position for now. But here, to the carousel, look how close Ron Doherty is, and he just has to wait until the kink and do what Jordan Kelly did to Sean McClements. That absolutely massive run off this corner. Here we go.
He's got a great run, and this might be the chance that he looks for. It can't get to the inside. Switch out to the road, hard travel. Will turn to the inside. Malia's going to have to try and do something magical here. Get it up and under on the exit, but Doherty is inched to perfection. Perfect. Damage limitation to this driver, Jordan Kelly, who walks with a confidence, who talks with a swagger, and he knows how important this is, because again he capitalizes on everybody else. 5 in 6, he is walking on water. He is so good.
That man is absolutely brilliant. Conor Malia not quite able to get the position away from Doherty anymore down the line. He tried his best. And just Jordan Kelly, what can you say? He's on the form of a lifetime. He is now returning to being that monster we saw in Formula 4 season, being the absolute final boss of the RTA Championship.
It's going to be a painful 11th place here for Dylan McClements, but after the way that he got that damage and how he's mustered his positions to go through, I think he'll take 11th come the end of that. He would have lost more time changing the front wing with a pit stop, so he has managed that damage quite nicely. Jim Colbainson is also going to make his way over towards the line. He's going to be one of the last drivers. Chan Wing-Fei will be the absolute last driver in, as Sim Rent-A-Car is out of the race. So the last two drivers are making that progress and are heading over the line. It's a long lap here, of course, around Road America's race circuit. But that's going to take us over towards our one break of tonight. We're going to step aside for just one moment. Post-race coverage here of your RTA F3 Fixed Virtual Motorsport Championship is here in just a couple moments. It's been a day of ups and downs and all-arounds for most of the protagonists of this championship, but Jordan Kelly is proving unflappable when everyone else has been flapping. His victory here in race 12 of this championship is huge. A 1-second victory over Sean McClements, with Ronan Doherty's start from, get this, way downtown in the field, 15th on the grid. It's a big podium finish for him in the number one machine. Conor Malia will take 4th place on what has been a fantastic night for him, with Sean McGoldrick in 5th and Lawrence de Sosua in 6th position, continuing his form towards the top 10 overall in the championship. Simon Hutchings finishes off in 7th after starting on pole, with Jamal Gandor in 8th, Brian McCarthy in 9th, and David Bedress rounds out the top 10 about half a minute down.
Yep, Dylan McClements with no front wing finishing 11th, Alexander Milchen gonna take it home 12th, Eric Ciar and Cem Kulbainsen 13th, 14th, John Wing-Fei 15th, Simran Tahar 16th, then you got Peter McCann and Andrew Murphy classified as retired, as are Peter Dempsey and Ian May, as well as Sean McDonald in 21st position classified but did not finish. And with that, we have Jake Sperry with the microphone this time around, and he's already spinning it curiously and spinning the wires curiously because he is gonna speak to our race winner next. And I believe you're ready, Jake.
I am. I've got Jordan Kelly here alongside me up in the commentary booth. And Jordan, 5 wins out of the last 6 races for you. Is this just something where it's just clicked and suddenly the formula's absolutely there for you? It looks like no matter what you can do, the road is paved with gold all the way to El Dorado.
Yeah, it was a good race. We Sean, it was tough closing them up, but I think once he got into the wash behind, he kind of struggling a wee bit, so it allowed me to get away a bit. So that was good to get the one, and 5 out of 6 races sounds good as well. So hopefully we can keep it up.
You sat in a position where you look around at your rivals in the championship. Dylan McClements loses his front wing in race 3. Ronan Doherty has 2 horrible races to go through. You've got Rory O'Shea out on a drop week this round. Are you now sat and poised in the prime position knowing that you do now have a buffer margin?
Yeah, in a way, but I know my very first round at Spa was a disaster, so I know how quickly it can change. So you kind of just have to take the good moments when you can, because it can all go the other way very quickly, like it has we're running the last 2 weeks. So, but it could end up being an exciting championship with all that happening. So hopefully it turns out that way and we get a good battle down to the last round. Hopefully.
Now, we know how much you love bridges. It's Suzuka next time out. The track actually forms part of a bridge. You must be over the moon.
Yeah, Suzuka, I think I prefer this place more, but Suzuka will be it'll be a good track to race against as well. There should be some good passing opportunities, so hopefully we'll get some more good racing like we did tonight. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed it goes well for you. Jordan, the floor is yours. You've got 5 victories in the last 6 races. Who gets it done for you?
Just everybody organising the races. Rob, Andrew, Peter does a lot behind the scenes, and again to you guys for putting on the stream. We wouldn't enjoy it as much if you weren't there. So it's a pleasure you being here.
Well, the pleasure is all ours. Jordan Kelly comes over the line with a victory in race 11 and a victory in race 12 to go along with all of that to boot. Oshin Puhaka has taken the walk down pit lane and has found himself over at the DDR garage and has found Sean McClements.
Yep, I got Sean McClements here, and it is a pleasure to talk to the older McClements as well every once in a while. Sean, race number 3. Just talk us through the emotions of running in the lead, realizing that Jordan's maybe not catching up as quickly as you feared, and then ending up losing that victory right as it was so close.
Yeah, first off, it feels good to be back in the lead after such a while, but I sort of kept my nerves calm, and I knew initially Jordan would have better pace on me, but at the start I was slightly quicker than him, and then for a long time we were doing the same lap times, and then I started to struggle a bit with the rears. But I was happy just as long as it was just Jordan got by and not Ronan or Connor. So yeah, I think race 3 went well compared to the past couple of races I've had, so I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, it's minimize your losses effectively. 2nd place, it's not bad at all here at Road America. So how was the track today? Like, tell us about, we saw a lot of drivers going wide. We saw the typical aggressive brand of Road America racing. So from your perspective, how was the racing out there today, and how was the track, and what was the most difficult part of today?
Yeah, the track was really grippy today. But if you had like aero wash, especially through carousel, it was really hard to sort of keep a gap that you're sort of within a good tow range. But if you went offline, there was definitely no grip, as you seen in race 1, where I tried to go around the outside of Peter Dempsey in turn 1, but I think it was a wee bit of netcode. But then I think my tires were also going as well, just due to the grip that was on the outside line. But yeah, the track was definitely quick, but you just had to make sure that you were on the racing line, or you didn't have too much aero wash, you're going to run wide.
Yeah, and speaking of tracks where it's very important to be on the racing line, obviously every track is an example of that, but especially the one we're running in next week, Suzuka. How are you looking forward to that?
The last time I've actually driven Suzuka, we done a 10-hour endurance race, or maybe it was 12-hour. I can't remember what one it was. And the lads actually played a bit of a prank on me. They asked me to jump in the car because Jordan said he got injured, and Ronan said he couldn't be bothered anymore, and they put me on 10% tires. So I'm just hoping this time I have more than 10% tires, and after that, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So it should be a good race. Suzuka's always brings great racing, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, that sounds like some good old Craig, as you would say. Well, the floor is yours, Sean. Who gets it done for you? And I'm just quoting Jake. I'm just stealing all his phrases here. Who gets it done for you?
So just want to give a massive shout out to you guys. The stream's great. I love watching it back. A massive shout out to all the lads in RTA making RTA happen. All the admins for putting the time and effort in to get the points not on. I want to thank the family in the living room. I know my granny and granda will probably either watch it live or maybe watch it back. So shout out to them, and a shout out to my aunts and uncles and cousins all watching it live. So they enjoy all the streams every week. So keep up the good work, guys.
Well, cheers, Sean. Congratulations for the second place, and thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
That's Sean Clements. And last but not least, Jake, I believe you found our final podium finisher.
I have. Ronan Doherty's jumped up here with us in the commentary box. Now, Ronan, for you, 2 rounds in to tonight, you probably are looking around at this thinking, well, this is a drop. Just talk about the middle of the field, why qualifying maybe struggled a little bit for you this week, and why it is so difficult in the opening laps just to keep yourself out of trouble.
Yeah, well, look, I didn't do any practice last night, so I just, I was racing at the weekend myself and didn't really feel like last night going on doing practice, and I jumped on tonight and I got on the pace straight away and went into qualifying, and unfortunately I didn't get a tow, and on my fastest lap I got blocked as well, so had to start way down because you have other drivers who maybe would normally be behind you getting the tow, and then when you're back with some of them guys that, you know, it's unpredictable what they're going to do in the cold tires, maybe overcompensating or undercompensating, and look, I think I just got unlucky tonight, and sometimes you need lady luck to be with you, and I just didn't quite have that tonight.
Well, you still try to make the most of it there in race 3, and it's so often that you find that in these lap 1s that positions come in truckloads here around this Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin circuit. You found yourself up very high in the order quickly, up into 6th, and then all of a sudden Milken and Dempsey find themselves off the road and you're in 4th. So how does that settle you in terms of knowing that the reality of where you were was that you probably had the best 1 lap pace in the field today?
Yeah, well, look, I was sitting there and I was sort of asking the lads what times are you doing, and I knew I had more in my pocket, so I just put the head down. But it's so hard when you know they're towing each other and then they're getting that time in the straight, and you're trying to make up for it as well. But yeah, look, the pace is good at the end, but when you're starting, what was 16th or whatever I started, it's ultimately going to be hard, you know, to get up there in the end. But no, look, yeah, I think maybe it was the fastest there on one lap pace, but it's about staying out of trouble too. It's about being smart in qualifying, and that's where I fell short.
What sort of response do you feel like you're going to be able to give to someone as dominant in this early mid part of the season that Jordan Kelly is when you head to Suzuka a week from today?
Well, Suzuka's good because you can't. It's more of a track where I can go out and qualifying, and people can't jump me with a toe. And what you need to do is just get on pole, or get in the first 2 rows, because then you're not going to be in the trouble from the people behind you. And I can beat Jordan, he can beat me. That's just the way it is, and we'll hopefully have some great races next week.
Well, if the formula is that simple, then everyone should take note. Just qualify well. It's as simple as that. Ronan,
Yeah.
before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank after a marauding drive up into third?
I'd just like to thank. I don't know. I'd just like to thank everyone that runs the series. Everyone involved, everyone for showing up and having a good bit of crack on the Tuesday night, and of course to you guys for providing the commentary over the racing.
No, the pleasure's ours. Ronan Doherty, a third place finish, salvaging a lot out of this final race of tonight. But there is lots on the horizon in terms of where we go, and the focus now will switch to the second half of the season. I want to give a massive thanks, though, to the team here today, from Ossian, from Daniel, and from Dougie. You can catch all of the products, the hardware that is used, and as well as the music that you can find over the course of what has been playing from June Lalonde. You can catch her stuff on Bandcamp if you haven't already. It's been a wonderful showcase. You can follow us as well on social media if you haven't, on Twitter-X. You can catch us as well on Facebook, on Instagram. We're all there and all going. We've also got a merch store. Buy some merch if you haven't already. gsrc.storeenvy.com. Make sure to get in on that. In terms of when we're next with you with the RTA Virtual Motorsports F3 Fixed Championship, we are at Suzuka, an incredible circuit with incredible racing, one of the ultimate tracks of ultimate racing prowess. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you in Mie Prefecture, Japan.